Hello everybody and welcome to MLG TV. Here we are in what is the fourth game of this extended series. We're looking at none other than Fnatic's KawaiiRice spawning as the Red Terran. He will be facing off with, or against rather, none other than EGDeMuslim as the Blue Terran. I'm Tumba, co-casting with the ever so smart encyclopedia StarCraft known as Kaelaris.
Thank you very much, Tumba, once again. Great to be here. A little sad that this is the last VOD that we're going to be casting for the day, as I absolutely adore working with you, but regardless, another TVT here, and no better positions to have this spawning. Cross positions TVD. Could be in for a long game. Could be in for a short one if Blue Flame Hellions have anything to say about it.
Yeah. And it reminds me sort of, and we were talking about this earlier actually in the day, the TVT in, I believe it was it MLG Anaheim between Boxer and Rain? And it might have been this, it was this map, it was Metalopolis that just, I mean, how long was that game, Kaelaris? An hour and 20?
I think about 3
game
weeks.
Time? Yeah,
I'm not quite
weeks.
sure.
Yeah, it was a remarkable game at any rate. So we'll see exactly what these two have lined up. But I got to be honest, man, I have to be worried a little bit for my man KawaiiRice, because EGDeMuslim has been nothing short of flawless in the series, and I think making all the right decisions at all the right times.
Yep, too true. And EGDeMuslim, as we've said many a times, just solid play. Not really been deviating from the norm in terms of his play style. Really kind of just going into every game in the same, way. And wow, actually we do have KawaiiRice going to be going for that gas first again. So maybe some Blue Flame Hellion play once again, or even the Banshees coming out. We'll have to see what he chooses. But I would probably prefer the Blue Flame Hellion positioning in this, as if you do go for that Banshee, chances are you're not going to send it right across the middle of the map. Chances are you're going to try and scoot around the edges, which will take just quite a while to get there. Bit laborious process. Whilst Hellions can just do all their scooting action right across the middle of the map. Yeah,
of course, much quicker. And you know what? It's funny because we were talking in between the VODs here in this series, of course, being so excited of it that we're fans also, not just casters. Yeah. But you were saying that, right, EGDeMuslim's just, I'm going to make you play to my style. I am going to play this. You're going to have to react to me. I'm going to be a little bit precautionary, as you point out, in every game. And like you said, he's just precautionary enough that he can cut some corners and be able to be so aggressive and kind of explode into this action and this contain. So I'll be excited to see exactly. And here he goes. He's sticking with what works also, as you can see. Going to get that early command center down here.
Yep, same build as last game. I'm going to be going for that factory straight after. Once again, it's so in the realms of prediction now. We're going to see that starport very fast, as we have seen in previous games, getting that Viking out to counter any kind of Banshee player that does come along. And I actually want to come back to a point that I wanted to make in the previous game. So we do have that evolution of TVT, as you've said. We have that Sky Terran crazy 3-week style games where, everyone's going for the Banshees, the Vikings, the Ravens in order to throw down PDDs, Yamato cannons going everywhere and things like that. But I think a lot of people don't give credit to the earlier stages of this matchup outside of Blue Flame Hellions. I cast a game recently between ATN Cloud and Fuser, who is a Finnish player, and Fuser went for this 3 barracks Ghost Marauder mix on one base, as his opponent was establishing a fantastic economy, and he absolutely trounced ATN Cloud going into his base. Took out the bunkers with his Marauders extremely fast. Tanks were there to be able to try and fend it off, but it didn't matter. The Marauders took them out so fast, and everything got sniped by about 5 or 6 ghosts. It was an absolute pleasure to watch. So I love this matchup. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. I think of all the mirror matches, this is the most interesting to cast. Of course,
100%.
ZVZ can become a bit monotonous, and we all know PvP has been a 4-gate fest, despite Blizzard's best efforts to fix it. We do see some deviation time to time. Occasionally we see Blinkstalker into DT, and there's been some experimentation with some expand builds, but we'll have to see after this next patch if that changes. But back to this game a little bit. It seems like KawaiiRice wants to put on quite a bit of pressure here with this Bioforce of Marines, and this did not work out so great for him last time. He had a hightail at home, and as I say that, I think there is a Hellion in the base. Yes, there is, in fact, a Hellion EGDeMuslim's Hellion now in the base, taking some pot shots here at these SCVs.
Yeah, I'm pretty scared actually for EGDeMuslim at this point. The big thing about his defense last game was the fact that he had a full wall off. So going to be dropping that scan here. May even go for a slight run by at this point. But indeed, the SCVs are going to be pulled here. The bunker begins to spray fire at them. And look at this, the Hellions going to be trying to run past, as I said before, and now going to be getting a few SCV kills. This is pretty good for KawaiiRice.
Well, you know, it is, but again, it goes back to what you said about being precautionary. Look at the way EGDeMuslim is utilizing that landed Viking. How often do you see that? I mean, typically when we see a player land a Viking, it's either because he's in a whole lot of trouble or way ahead. He was actually using that Viking right there just to go ahead because he didn't have the units out he needed. He pulled just the right amount of SCVs. Again, just precautionary enough that he can go ahead and hold that, and it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see a big counterattack here shortly out of EGDeMuslim.
Yeah, and you know, securing is natural again, ever the solid player. Just going to be just going for these timings and standards that he is so used to. And KawaiiRice behind this, yes, of course, he has done a bit of damage, but it's not game-changing damage at this point, especially since he doesn't have his natural in position. So EGDeMuslim's in a great position, and again, he's still pulling ahead in the macro. Oh my, he's so impressive.
He is so impressive. If he could play like this every series, I definitely see him being a contender, maybe even, dare I say, Code S material, because right now everything in his play has been flawless, and I think KawaiiRice quite frustrated. Of course, winning, as we've said in the other games, winning the first 2 games of the series and then making this, of course, an extended series for round 2, but I think that he felt like initially he had EGDeMuslim's number, and EGDeMuslim's just been a freight train in this extended series.
Yeah, too true. And there's one thing that I do want to come back in this matchup in general, and in fact in all Terrans in general, and it's something out of the book of Bomber. Now, when you see him set up bunkers and things like that, he'll end up putting supply depots in front of it, just to fortify that position even more. And I'm surprised we're actually not seeing more Terrans do that. I keep looking at these bunkers and I think to myself, that would look lovely with some supply depots in front of it. But, you know, it's something that people could incorporate into their play. I personally think it's a fantastic play, and so we'll have to see if that does become the norm, but I absolutely adore it when Bomber does it. But obviously, it is slightly a TVZ nuance as opposed to other matchups.
Well, I must say, piggybacking on that point a little bit, phenomenal player, This Is Jimmy, actually did a bit of a tutorial on that on hotkit.com. Incidental plug there, not intentional, of course, just to go ahead and say. But no, in all seriousness, goes exactly in line with what you said. And of course, every little detail in this game can be extremely important. It can win or lose you the game. And supply depot placement, man, it only makes sense. It's a good way to deter in SimCity. Of course, Terran, we're the kings of turtle for a reason, and it's the way they go ahead and use their buildings to either deter or help unit flow. So
I've just got to come to the back of EGDeMuslim's base. Look at this defense he's got going on just in the back.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Everything on patrol. Nothing is getting through that. Oh my god. Even Cloaked Banshees with that Raven would have no chance whatsoever. But looks like he's going to be moving out here with a few Hellions. Siege Tech, I believe, is done for KawaiiRice. So this could be a bit dodgy for him if he gets in a bad position, but I think he may end up saving his units, probably.
With those units on patrol, it almost looked like the AI was going schizophrenic. Quite impressive, though. Nothing going to get by him. I remember Pain User commenting that, you know, oh, well, I put a Viking on patrol and a medevac sneaks by and there's Hellions in my base. Well, I hate to say it, but sometimes one Viking isn't enough. I don't think the game should rest on one Viking being able to secure your base. And as we saw right there, EGDeMuslim, you know, making a good decision.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're going to be able to roast up a load of these SCVs with these Hellions as KawaiiRice moved out at just the wrong time with his siege tanks. And the 4 Hellions did slip past. But again, he has another 4 Hellions here waiting in the wings. They are going to be spotted, though, by that Marine. So now KawaiiRice is going to know exactly what's up.
Absolutely, as that Marine stemmed right over there and did see it. Now just gets roasted. Scan going down. And we're going to have to see exactly how KawaiiRice decides to deal with this, because this is where EGDeMuslim has been shining every game. We're just going to pin him in here, hold him, contain him, and expand behind it.
Yep, it's almost a mirror of last game, apart from the Hellion drop that we did see from KawaiiRice in that game. And, you know, he's in a fantastic position to expand. There's no reason he couldn't. He has more than enough siege tanks to be able to deal with any numbers KawaiiRice has. And it's getting to the point now in this game where it's not even a question of tactics per se. It's just a question of EGDeMuslim has better macro mechanics than his opponent. He really doesn't have that much of a SCV lead at this point, and just getting that third up now, as was spotted by a Marine though. So yeah, EGDeMuslim just nukes on the way. Ho ho ho.
Everybody loves nukes. Very exciting to watch launch. Hopefully, I am doing the obsing here, so hopefully I do catch that if we do get to see one launch. Never want to miss that. Of course, I have to go back to this, and I've been panning back to it. This patrol, I'm just enamored with it. I really am, because it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of times players in StarCraft 2 underreact. They underreact to something and wonder why it failed. This is just brilliant, and it's something that I hope people incorporate into their own play, because and you see it a lot also with Protoss, where 1 or 2 cannons would be useful to go ahead and secure an expansion and give your army enough time to get there, and players just don't do it. They cut those corners, and I think really using these units in this way is so very smart. It's going to shut down any type of drop play out of KawaiiRice.
Yep, indeed. So it does look like the Ghosts and the forces of KawaiiRice are going to be moving out here. Probably going to use these nukes to maybe force an unsiege. We'll have to see, will he be able to get those Ghosts? But actually a few siege tanks here unsieged for EGDeMuslim at this point, and KawaiiRice could push in, maybe do some damage here.
Absolutely, and I'm just right now scanning over the base, looking for that Ghost Academy, and there it is. So I know in case that nuke goes off, in case we hear it.
There it is.
And just going to keep my eye on that for launch.
Indeed, forcing the unsiege, as we pointed out just before here. That nuke will land, maybe going to get a Raven. No, just barely catching, scraping that. But KawaiiRice is in a pretty good position here, shelling away at the infrastructure, and even dropping another nuke on the force of EGDeMuslim.
Absolutely, as we can see, yep. And that nuke, in fact, did take out the bunker as well. It did catch part of the missile there going off, and we can see right now, though, EGDeMuslim really needs to get on his horse and make something happen here. But if we just look at the sheer force of EGDeMuslim at this point, the supplies are almost equal, but for some reason, EGDeMuslim just looks more menacing.
Well, I mean, the big difference there was the fact that those PDDs went down. That Raven's so invaluable there, soaking up a lot of that Viking fire from KawaiiRice. He won the air battle. That lone Banshee was able to clean all the rest up without even using his siege tanks. So now 50 supply ahead, going to be moving in for what looks like a counterattack. And this is looking bad for KawaiiRice right now. And
what more can we say about it? It's the same every game, to where EGDeMuslim's winning in the engagements, he's winning in the economy, and he's winning in the macro. He's literally outclassing KawaiiRice in every state of the game, and that's no easy task.
No, indeed. EGDeMuslim's macro so strong here, takes out the third command center of KawaiiRice, and now throwing down a lot of barracks, no doubt in order to be able to produce some kind of marauders, more marauders than he already has, in order to take out this siege line. But sieging up in a fantastic position here. All the infrastructure going to fall once again.
Yeah, and again, this is where we see KawaiiRice in this problem where he attacks and he tries to make something happen. As we can see now, he does have Marines and Marauders coming into the third here, trying desperately to do some kind of economic damage, but it's too little too late, in my opinion. Is if we look at supply, 177 to 111 of KawaiiRice.
Yeah, he was greeted by just so many of those tanks coming out there for EGDeMuslim, and I'm almost positive I heard a nuke going down there, but it's in the main of KawaiiRice's base. He's given up by the looks of things. Gonna be nuking his main.
I've got the camera right on it, just ready for it to land. All the SCVs seem to be there under that nuke. We will have to see if it does land, as it has launched, and of course that will be a fantastic finish. What better way to finish? There it goes, it does land! Utter decimation. Kaelaris as we get the GG.
Indeed. This has been one hell of a series, Tumba, and it's been absolutely fantastic to cast it with you, I've got to say.
Yeah, and thanks, of course, to MLG for getting us these great games. What a way to top it off by EGDeMuslim. Of course, EGDeMuslim, you've earned another fan. Amazing, just amazing play. I look forward to hopefully casting many, many more of his fantastic games. And I have to say, this series may have sounded like we were tough on KawaiiRice a little bit, Kaelaris, but really,
he's a boss anyway.
He is a boss. I mean, it's one of it's he of course won the first 2 games to make it this extended series, but some days are diamonds, some days are rhinestones, and EGDeMuslim just had his number in this one.
Yep, too true. So once again, thank you very much, Tumba, for allowing me to cast with you. Thank you to MLG TV. I hope I did you proud. and maybe I'll get to cast some more in the future.
Looking forward to it. Okay, thanks everybody, and we'll see you guys.
Bye.